Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Looking at what just dropped from inside Major League Baseball, the Dodgers are making a serious push for a player nobody saw coming. This isn't the guy everyone's been talking about. And honestly, when you hear who it is, you might be scratching your head wondering what Andrew Friedman is thinking. But stick with me here because there's actually a method to this madness that makes more sense when you break down what LA really needs right now. So here's the deal. For weeks, maybe months, everyone in baseball has been connecting the Dodgers to Brendan Donovan from the Cardinals. Makes sense, right? Utility guy who can play anywhere, solid bat, exactly what you'd think the Dodgers would want. But according to fresh reports from Matthew Moreno over at Dodger Blue, that might not be the direction they're heading anymore. He's saying the Dodgers are falling behind in the Donovan sweepstakes, which tells you other teams are outbidding them, or LA just isn't that interested after all. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Ken Rosenthal drops a report in The Athletic saying the Dodgers are actually focused on a completely different Cardinals player. We're talking about Lars Nootbaar. Yeah, the outfielder who played with Shohei Ohtani on Team Japan during the World Baseball Classic. That same guy who was teammates with Yoshinobu Yamamoto and will be playing alongside Roki Sasaki if he comes over. There's already chemistry there with multiple guys in that clubhouse, and the Dodgers love that kind of thing. Let me read you exactly what Rosenthal said because this is official reporting here. He writes that the Seattle Mariners are the favorites for Donovan, but the Los Angeles Dodgers are among the teams interested in Nootbaar. So we're not talking speculation anymore. This is confirmed interest from multiple sources at this point. Now let's actually look at what Lars Nootbaar brings to the table because this matters. When you pull up his stats and metrics, it's honestly a mixed bag. His arm strength coming out of left field is legitimately good, which matters at Dodger Stadium with how much ground there is to cover in that outfield. But when you dig into the advanced metrics, his batting value, base running value, and fielding value are all sitting right around average or slightly below. His strikeout rate is middle of the pack at about the 50th percentile. Walk rate is a bit better, sitting above that 50th percentile mark. The concerning stuff is in his whiff rate and chase rate, which aren't great. His bat speed grades out well in the upper percentiles, but his average exit velocity is just okay. And here's the real problem. He hits the ball on the ground constantly. You look at his spray chart, and it's just ground ball after ground ball toward the infield. Not exactly the type of hitter that screams impact player. His season stats from last year paint a similar picture. In 599 at-bats, he struck out 119 times. That's not terrible, but not great either. Hit 13 home runs with 48 RBI. His batting average was .225 with an on-base percentage of .325 and 64 walks. To me, this just screams slightly above average player who plays decent defense and has versatility in the outfield. I'm not sitting here getting excited about this acquisition if I'm being completely honest with you. The comparison that keeps coming to mind is Kike Hernandez. And that's kind of the problem. If you want Kike, you can just sign Kike. You don't need to trade prospects or players to get someone who performs at basically the same level. Sure, Lars might be a bit younger with more team control, but is that really worth giving up assets in a trade when you could address the need in free agency? Here's where it gets even more complicated. Lars Nootbaar had surgery on both of his heels back in October, and there's a real chance he misses the start of the season. Sound familiar? The Dodgers already have this exact problem with Kike Hernandez and Tommy Edman, both dealing with injuries that might keep them out early in the year. Andrew Friedman specifically said recently that he's looking for a position player to add before the season starts. If you're trading for a guy who might not even be ready for opening day, how does that solve your immediate problem? The good news is that Nootbaar would be under team control through salary arbitration all the way until 2027. That's value right there. You're not just getting a rental. But again, you're potentially starting the season without him, which defeats the entire purpose of making this move in the first place. Matthew Moreno made a comparison in his piece that honestly made me cringe a little bit. He said, if the Dodgers get Nootbaar, it would be similar to when they signed Michael Conforto for last season. And look, I get what he's trying to say about the role and the injury situation, but can we please not compare anyone to Michael Conforto? That signing didn't work out the way anyone hoped. Yes, the Dodgers won the World Series. Yes, they're back-to-back champions, but there were still problems, and Conforto was definitely one of them. I don't want to run that same experiment again in 2026 and hope for different results. So where does that leave us? Is Lars Nootbaar a bad player? No, not at all. He's a solid major leaguer who can help a team, but is he the impact acquisition that gets you excited as a fan? Is he the guy who makes you think the Dodgers just got significantly better? I don't think so. He feels like a depth move more than anything else, and maybe that's fine. Maybe the Dodgers already have their core set and they just need to fill in some gaps. But when you're talking about trading assets to get this guy, you have to ask yourself if there are better options available. The real question becomes whether this move makes sense on its own or if it only works as part of a larger plan. If the Dodgers trade for Nootbaar and then make another significant move somewhere else, maybe you can talk yourself into it. You'd have depth in the outfield, a guy who can play multiple positions, and you'd still have your big impact player coming from that other deal. But if this is the move, if Lars Nootbaar is the position player Andrew Friedman was talking about adding, then I think a lot of fans are going to be left feeling underwhelmed. Ken Rosenthal's report makes it clear that multiple teams are involved here. The Mariners are pushing hard for Donovan. The Dodgers are in on Nootbaar. The Cardinals are clearly shopping multiple players and trying to maximize return. What the Dodgers ultimately decide to do could tell us a lot about how they view their roster construction going forward. Are they looking for steady contributors who fit a system, or are they willing to go big and add someone who changes the dynamic of the lineup? With Christmas coming up next week and then New Year's right after, it's hard to say how quickly anything moves. Historically, things tend to slow down during the holidays and then pick back up in January when teams get serious again. So we might be waiting a few more weeks before anything concrete happens here. But make no mistake, Andrew Friedman is working the phones. He's evaluating options. And whether it's Lars Nootbaar or someone else entirely, the Dodgers are going to make a move before spring training starts. The real test is whether that move actually addresses their needs in a meaningful way, or if it's just shuffling deck chairs around. Time will tell, but for now, Lars Nootbaar to the Dodgers is a real possibility that's gaining steam. What happens next is anyone's guess, but you can bet we'll be here covering every development as it breaks. This is the kind of offseason where anything can happen, and with the Dodgers, you just never know what direction they're going to go until the deal's actually done.